I still can't believe that you do it.
So these people, okay, for example, there are expenses, okay. So these people who are able to pay, okay, feeding these people who are not able to pay.
Sometimes one doesn't always recover from things like psychosis if it's been left too long.
How many times have we had that people came in for their children and they could see the change in their kids, quickly, and they ended up, tens of them. We're not talking about 2 or 3, tens of them. The parents came back afterwards. How many have we got now? I think we've got about 4 or 5 of them now.
The whole
as
family,
we speak.
family concession.
Yes.
Family concession.
Somebody, and then they, you've just saved my. I can't believe it. It's a new, but I didn't even know that this is a problem.
Today I have the honour of sitting with Joel Snitzer and Professor Ahmed El-Missiry, who have shared passion and mission to help bring affordable and speedy psychiatric care to the community. They both have big hearts and incredibly see patients till midnight in their clinic at the referral centre. We're going to talk about medication, therapy, the community, and how one Egyptian professor and one Hasidic man have joined forces to help. Okay, so, I think the truth is that I think the best way of starting is we've got 3 people in this podcast studio. We all look very different. So I think we should just sort of, I guess we maybe introduce ourselves might be quite good.
Yeah, go on.
Why are you here, Yoli?
Why?
Yoli Snitzer, by the way.
Yeah, I've been called. You've asked me to come.
Okay.
And I said, okay. Well, jokes aside, I'm here because of my passion, my very strong passion in helping people with mental health problems.
We've known each other for a while.
Well, as I said, how many titles have you had on me? Therapist, teacher, boss.
Boss what, in J-Team?
J-Team, yeah.
Yeah, because you're one of the J-Team volunteers, and you're triage as well.
And now interviewer.
And now interviewer. Wow, that's
4 titles.
That's a lot. And I want to actually cover that later because you're one of the few people and that I've encountered. And it's actually getting a bit more as the time goes on. But you're probably one of the first people that I knew that when you came to me and you're the client and I'm the therapist, where most people hide that and are very nervous about telling anyone, you would pick up the phone in the middle of the session. Let's say someone rang and you said, "Sorry, I'm in the middle with my therapist, call me back later." And that is like, people in our community do not do that. Professor, you're laughing here. Professor Ahmed El-Missiry, you're also an unlikely visitor because you're all the way from Egypt. Yeah. Although having lived in England and worked in the Nightingale Hospital, how come you're here? What brings you to the table?
Oh, because I share the same passion like Yuli. I think we joined course and we have the same driver, the same ethos, and here we go and on our mission to provide appropriate and services, for a very enclosed community that has had little access into this sort of help before. So I think I'm on a mission with him.
Okay, wow. Okay, so basically for people that don't know properly yet, Yoli, you're a builder.
Yeah.
And Professor, you are a consultant psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Been working in the Nightingale beforehand,
and NHS for 25 years, 30 years. Yeah.
Yeah, specialising in all sorts of things like addiction and ADHD and depression. Now, how on earth did you two meet to create what you're creating?
Would you like to start, or would you like me to? Okay, so how did we meet? Okay, first I received a phone call, somebody saying, "I'm the Jewish community liaison officer. I had a patient admitted to the private hospital. So he wanted to discuss with me the care of the patient, and then so I said, normally, so you need to give me like to have a written consent from the patient, and I was a little bit, who's that? And then he phoned me again after I spoke to the patient, and she said that I can speak to him. And he started asking about clinical things, and he said that he's helping people in the community with regard to their mental health problems. So I said, look, within the NHS, okay, because I cover area where there's a very big Hasidic community. I said, why won't you come and tell us how we can help you in helping people? So I agreed with him one day to come and speak to the team in the NHS and tell us, how to deal with the community, because we had some problems in our ability to understand some of the context of the symptoms, some of the context of presentation. So he came, and I must say he delivered a very...
Well, that was Yoli who came?
Yes.
Oh, that was all Yoli, right.
Yoli came to my team, and he delivered a very good speech about him first, and how he had his personal issues, the impact of the loss of his brother, and how he has been trying to help people. And then he started talking to us about what we need to be cautious about when we deal with the community, and how we can try to make them access care, because there's always mistrust about the NHS, and how they can access care. And then after this, I was very impressed. And then, not normally that I do, I took him from the team meeting room to my room, and started, okay, can I have the story again?
Wow.
And, tell me what you do, how you do it, and then that. I said, I'm quite happy to support you in this process. So at that time, we had just one patient, who we're dealing with. And then started to get more closer to him. I got understanding of his mission, the reason behind that. I found a very genuine person. I found somebody who really would like to help people. And I just clicked. And
a man with one of the biggest hearts that I know.
I completely agree with that. He's very accommodating, very
We mustn't speak too much because his head's
empathetic.
Yeah.
But I'm not flattering him though. But this is the case.
Absolutely.
This is what.
But why were you
happened.
interested in helping the Jewish community? You're well established in the wider world. You've written many research papers. You've been involved in lots of different projects in the NHS. Why on earth would you be interested in helping the Hasidic community in Stamford Hill?
It's not about the Hasidic community. It's about people. I step in and help any people. Okay, I don't look on color, sex, race, religion, nothing at all. It's about helping people. And
but you already were helping lots of people.
Yes, but I found that there is a marginated community that some of them has no access to appropriate care, and of somebody who's there to help, and I decided to join the course. So and it was a good thing, because I was taught a lot about the community. I was taught a lot about the their problems, the attitudes, the religion aspects of things.
Yes,
I'm still not there, but I can understand.
It's going to take a long time to learn everything.
Yeah, but I'm really able now to understand things. I know the questions that I should ask, questions that I shouldn't ask, and it's a learning curve, and it really has had a very good impact. Because I can see from the curve of the patients that we are seeing in the community has tremendously increased. Okay, and this means that we tap the the right button.
Yes,
We
yeah.
really were able to get to the heart of a lot of problems.
Wow.
And try to help and solve.
Unbelievable. So you only give us like an idea, like where you're up to now. Explain to us like how everything works, how many people you're seeing, what's the setup? Because where do you come in terms of the patients?
I'm touched. Thank you, Professor, for kind words. What did you say once? Once you already told me. I never believed that my best friend is going to be a Jewish person, wasn't it?
Yeah, I had.
With payers in the beard.
Yeah, okay. Because look, the I thought that the Hasidic community as the most orthodox people. Okay, they don't allow anybody in. Okay, it's just they won't talk to anybody.
Yes, yeah.
So to find that no, this concept was wrong. Okay, very nice people. They socialize. I sit with some people in Refuah. I can't stop laughing. Okay, it wasn't the concept that I actually thought, and it's not me only. A lot of people. Okay, so yeah,
it's an unbelievable.
definitely.
I work probably a lot of the people that I see are also from the Hasidic community, the most unbelievable people, and very interestingly, I think it's a misconception because actually, when it comes to mental health, there's so much interest and so much yearning to understand and to know more.
I'm going to get to that, I think in the middle a bit later. But let me just wind back slightly. So I think we need to clarify. Professor Ahmed is still working now at the NHS in St Anne's Hospital, which serves a big part of the Hasidic Stamford Hill community, the Tottenham part. And then he works as well in Nightingale Hospital. So he gave the story how he met.
Where are we up to now?
It's always a kind of interesting the perspective of how he sees that he met me and how I saw that. So it was unbelievable how things happened, because it was basically at a time when I had a connection with a different psychiatrist, and we had to take this lady. She was in the 50s. Into hospital. She had a manic episode, and then I called up this doctor, and he told me that I'm not anymore on the Bupa because the insurance doesn't pay. My fees are too high, but I will give you somebody else. And guess what? That somebody else was Professor Ahmed. And as soon as we met, I think it's an avalanche. It just went, and it just gets bigger every day, really, to a point today. Fast forwards, where we have we see an average a week at the moment around. So on Sundays we usually see 17 people, and middle of the week depending. So it's another 10. So I would say about, in average, it's probably about 22, 23 people at the moment per week.
Mm-hmm.
And that comes all the rest of prescriptions and stuff. I mean, since March till today, we have registered and seen over 250 new patients in Refuah.
Wow. Well, you see them in the Refuah Medical Centre?
Yes, so we see them in Refuah Medical. We have joint ventures. In the beginning, we were doing it in my office. We were doing it here.
We were doing it. What happened? Okay, I took Yuli to our operational manager, and we set a meeting with Bikur Hulum as well. Okay, where she met with the manager, and what we agreed that I will provide support to this community free using the NHS premises. So she, given that our operation manager is Jewish as well, so she was very welcoming that. So
I'm sure they were, yeah.
So they allowed us first to use the NHS premises, but
Mhm.
it was a little bit difficult, okay, when spaces were slim. And then we went and used Yuli's office for a while, then started to work with Rufua. So yeah, it started step by step.
So how does it work? Let's say a patient is struggling, they need to see a psychiatrist. What happens? They call up you, Yoli Direct, or they call Refuah? How's it work?
Okay, so Refuah obviously has got their adverts that they put out, part of their services that they have. And we, as in the organization that I work, which is called Yosef Chai, which is in the name of my brother, which is called Yosef Chaim. And
Your brother, who as Professor said, was tragically took his life.
He took his life. Yeah, that's right. Whoever wants to hear my podcast, that I've already said, all those in Yiddish.
It's quite a story.
Well, one day I probably will, give my story somewhere, on English as well. So basically, the charity part that I'm bringing in is a number of reasons and a number of things that we do in that. So number one is get the prices down. So we have category A, which is the normal price of Refuah. Category B is subsidized slightly, and category C is well subsidized. So even with Refuah's prices, the comparing it to the high street prices of, let's say, an initial consultation with a psychiatrist of an hour or 50 minutes, it's usually between £600 and £900 now.
Yeah.
A Refuah you pay £450. That is category A. And then if people are struggling, we subsidize them, and they've only paid £200 for initial appointment.
Wow.
So it's really,
that's unbelievable.
Slashed
as a
down.
therapist, to hear that, because one of the biggest problems that we have in the mental health framework of today is that people need a psychiatrist to be able to get a diagnosis, to get medication, but they can't. They wait either months for one in the NHS. And they don't know who they're going to get, or they go privately, but many people can't afford £900 an appointment. So what you're doing is like unbelievable.
So that was one of the main things was the cost of it. Second thing is when a person decides within the community that they want to go, they're usually quite late already, and they need desperately to have access to it. And in any term, psychiatric is one of the very important things to get quick
many people
access.
are in crisis. They need it now.
Because if, the longer you prolong it, the severer the problem can become. So we have this rule that we have officially every week a clinic, every Sunday, which is from 2 p.m. till 10, 11, 12, sometimes a little later, depending on what we get. And at night, midnight, And then we have, in the middle of the week, we open up clinics, either on Tuesday or on Thursdays, depending on demand. So we make sure that I clear the deck every week. Okay. So then that's number one that I do. Number two is I also sit by the clinics. So I don't sit with a professor unless somebody asks me to come, which is when there's a bridge of language barriers or understanding of terms, or professor needing to understand.
They ask you to come into the
the
appointment.
I will ask them. Usually, I'll ask them if they want to come with. They want me to come with, and that's number one. Number two is I would sit with the patients before, and understand, how to present themselves to the professor, and what to say and how to say, and normalize things.
And then prep them a bit before.
Yes. And then afterwards, what the process is, how it needs to go, whether it's ADHD. Because for example, ADHD, it's something that the professor does the most rigorous way of testing, and that I've seen, and the feedback I've had as well. Blood tests, ECG, and obviously with the blood pressure and heights and weight and everything else.
Yeah.
So there's a process that needs to happen, and how it works, the psychometric testing as well on top of it. So there is quite a bit of back work to be done, and people need to understand how the process works. So they come in, and we have chats about them, and then one of the main things is that I see people myself there for no charge to discuss with them, because they, whether it's somebody that is scared of the whole process, that's just, and they feel comfortable to talk to me because they've heard my other podcast and what I went through, and, they can resonate with me.
You're one of the community,
and
so people feel comfortable
exactly, and then they feel that's number one. Number two is that I'm from the community, and they can trust me. So it's a tremendous help, because you could see people who've been stuck for many years. They just come there and we talk, and then a week, we plant the seeds, as we say, and they usually end up coming and getting the help that they need to. So those are the three things. So it's about normalizing it. It's about the cost and about the speed of how quickly they can get an appointment. And yes, and it just keeps growing and growing and growing, and it's
Wow. Well, I'm not surprised it's growing, because what you're offering is just it's unbelievable for people that can't afford it. But it's also unbelievable because I think many people, when it comes to psychiatry, first I think we should define because a lot of people don't always know what's a psychiatrist, what's a therapist, what's a clinical psychologist. Lots of different terms, and the therapist is often the one who's connecting to the patient and working through something, and with talk therapy and working with people's thoughts and behaviors. The psychiatrist is the one really at the top who's sort of making that diagnosis often. And I think people very often are intimidated, a bit nervous when they come to see a psychiatrist. I think a lot of people feel they need to put on a bit of a good impression because they're seeing a psychiatrist. I love the fact what you're doing is you're actually helping people when they go in to see the professor. They're actually going to be in a really good, they're going to share with him what they need to share. Yeah. And so he can get a full picture.
Yeah, well, many times we heard that, we join and then, we normalize. What the professor does in terms of his timing and his dedication, don't forget, this is 24/7. We're not talking about, he's dedicated to this 24/7. It's unbelievable. I mean, it was my dream. I mean, I'll put it that way. I never had a dream that I could have such a dream. It was just like, how can...
I still can't believe that you do it.
Exactly. I mean, literally 24/7.
What makes you do it?
I work in a home treatment team, so I get crisis service. So I'm there for my team every day, night, every time.
And it's true. It's
not. It doesn't matter. Okay, so it's my nature. Okay, so I work in this field. My team can call me 2:00 in the morning. Wow. I never say no. Okay. I wanted to say something.
Does your family not mind?
I struggle with that.
There's always going to be someone who's not happy with that.
A lot of credit comes to our, our families. You know that, Jacob. You're dealing with some, Askunas as well, and that they have to be.
Well, we're doing this podcast quite late, and my wife wants to be home earlier. Yeah, look, we're in the helping profession, but it is amazing because even though we're all helpers in different ways, I still find it that many people in the helping profession, you don't always see their heart, maybe because they become a bit jaded over the years and they were passionate, but they lose the passion or they become a bit burnt out. But I can see from you that you've been doing it for a long time, but I can feel your passion in it.
Can I say that? Can I say something? I think because we both have ADHD.
I haven't diagnosed myself yet.
I've done that.
He started diagnosing me. Okay.
Yeah, it's much easier to diagnose everyone else than yourself.
Okay, so I wanted to say that when we started, we were seeing patients completely for free.
Yeah,
we weren't charging any patients for anything, and then when we came, we started to increase, and there were, we came up with the idea of this stratification. So those who are able to pay, they actually, feed in the people who are not able to pay. So we have, like Yuri said, three groups
tiers.
And three. The three tiers and three.
A complex structure.
So these people, for example, there's there are expenses, okay? So these people who are able to pay, okay, feeding these people who are not able to pay, feeding these people who are not able to pay.
But even the highest tier are not paying anywhere near about how much they would pay if they went to Harley Street.
See, I mean, ADHD packages, I mean, you know, the amounts that people pay for in refer, that includes bloods and everything else on the highest tier. Diagnosis, so 2 appointments with a professor in total, bloods, ECG, and psychometric testing, all of it, we're getting to £1,440. That's currently what it stands, and if it's subsidised, it's £1,100. That's what it is. So yeah, try and get that anywhere else. I haven't found yet, and it's The professor told me when we joined with Refuah, he said to me, "I'm only going there if you make sure that if somebody hasn't got even £150, we will still see them for free." So very, very rarely.
So you won't turn people away because of how much they've got in their pocket.
We never do that.
I mean, I'm literally, as I'm saying that, it's just it's inspiring.
Never. Even in I have got my private clinic. Never. People can go. I'm not able to afford. Okay, it's for free.
Yeah.
There
we say that. There we say that, but it has to be.
Look, it has to be sustainable, so you can't give it everyone for that.
It's very rare. Very rare.
When we tried to free for everyone, okay, it wasn't working. It wasn't working.
No.
But I wish, you know, we would have been able to.
So let's say you've mentioned ADHD. Would you say, let's say, what the most common types of presentations that you end up working with? I mean, ADHD nowadays, it seems to be spread across the world, ADHD. Who doesn't have it?
Yeah, but the thing is that some people use the certain platforms online for ADHD, and me being, you know, in the line of ADHD because of myself having those issues, and I know that I also take medication for anxiety to make sure that it doesn't flare up with the medication of ADHD. I have seen some cases that came from certain platforms that they only have prescribing nurses, or, you know, there isn't a proper psychiatrist sitting there, you know, that they end up giving medications out without looking at the anxiety and all the other parts in it. And it's I think part of what we do is making sure that
it's thorough.
Make sure that it's thorough.
Well, I know, because we've had a few shared patients together, and I remember one patient who'd been to a few psychiatrists, and I could see, like, you picked up on something that the others hadn't, because you had done a much more thorough background check. So you didn't just take what they were suffering now, you would sort of, and that sort of led you to see something that others hadn't seen. And
again, that's something that I plug in. So I can go on about stories all night where, you know, proactively we look into the family dynamics around it. Because the professor has got this rule. He says every person that comes in, 3 things: we look into the medication, we look into therapy, and family dynamics, right? So he's teaching me that, and that's the one we take.
All products are ultimately, whether we like it or not, we're all products of our upbringing.
Yeah, but when you go to therapy, you know, and many people will have a problem opening up about their family dynamics. And guess what? There's some people that don't even know differently. They think that this is what they're going through is the norm, so they don't even talk about it. So if you're having a very comfortable chat with someone, and you just, you know, are connecting, and this is something that I'm gifted with, to connect to people, is, you know, and then all of a sudden it just, you're starting to realize what's going on, what's the picture, and then that's something that gets fed in. And once the person said, and I tell the person I'm going to pass on the information to the professor, and he gets the information in, it becomes a walk in the park. It's much quicker. You know, the diagnosis go better, more accurately. You know, it's a changer, and that is something that we need in the community, because again, the trust level. Is he going to report me? How many times have people asked me, is the professor going to report me to social services? Is he going to report us? Is it going to be a problem of ours?
Misconceptions.
I mean, every time.
But you've done the same. Let's say I know there's people that say that you've referred to me, and they wouldn't have come to me because they would be a bit nervous therapy, and what's going to happen is he's going to brainwash me.
Yeah,
and
change my mind.
Yeah, change my mind, and he's always going to indoctrinate me with who knows what precursors. And like by you talking to them and just explaining to them, this is what's going to happen, then they've been able to make that next step.
Yeah.
Which I think in the Jewish community is vital, because people
it
wouldn't
very
go
much
to a professor. A lot of them, if they didn't have that.
That is true. That is very
feeling.
true. And that's what it's part of what Yosef Chai is doing. But a professor is actually joining me, becoming a trustee in our organization. We're going to launch in the next few weeks. We're overdue, but on Monday we're having a meeting with. We're going to launch Yosef Chai publicly. So don't forget, all those patients, there's no advertisement. There's all word to mouth, simple as that.
But kind of in the Jewish community, that's all you need, really, word of mouth.
Well, yeah.
In some ways, it's more stronger than any adverts.
Yeah, it is.
So have you been, Professor, have you been surprised at the types of problems that you've seen within the community? Would it be similar to some of the other populations that you've seen? Does it differ?
Mental illness is uniform across everyone. Okay, the same rates, the same pictures. There's a very big study by the WHO, okay, that actually made it very clear that the rates of mental illness are the same. However, presentations can be different. And the way the people express their symptoms and their willingness to express the symptoms and their willingness to understand the root of the symptoms differs from community to another. There may be a little bit of more things related to obsessions related to the religion, because everyone in this community would like to be to do well in his religion and to connect well with God and things like that. So you may see repetitive behavior a little bit more, but the rates of symptom and of illness is necessarily the same across every community and everywhere.
But do we not see more of severe cases due to the fact that people have bottled up on many things? So
you see more crisis.
Yeah, we do see manic. We've had a lot of them, didn't we?
Okay. The problem is the community is very tolerant. Okay, and the community has extended support, and families are big. They're extended families. They accommodate mental illness. Okay, and there has been people that I was astonished, having serious problems and being accommodated by their family. Okay, for years and years and years and years.
Well, basically, just going along with it and just this is, like it's normal. Like someone's, let's say, psychotic or manic would just sort of.
For example, easier things. People with social anxiety, very simple thing. Okay, that hasn't been able to go out. They've been allowed to sit in, study at home, okay, and not go out for years and years and years.
Right, I see what you're saying. So we're playing into it instead of challenging it. We've just accepted it. This is how they are, and
this is the nature of extended families, okay, and big families, okay. It's not like nuclear families where these sort of behaviors will not be tolerated and will be reported and okay. No, people tolerate. People try to help, okay, as much as they can within the concept, okay, what they have about the problem. So we have seen a lot of patients, okay, that really. I wouldn't have imagined, okay, that the family were tolerant all these years.
Amazing.
All these years.
I mean, it's amazing, but it's also sad a bit,
Yeah. So the problem is if I start on examples, I'll never finish here. But
just give us a couple of examples of something that was a tragedy because they waited so long.
Okay, so I'll give you an example of something, of basically a couple, wonderful people, two really dedicated, beautiful couple. and the husband started having a manic episode. And it was the first onset of psychosis that we found out afterwards. And the wife was so connected to him and so like really genuinely given in, into whatever, he's doing or whatever he's saying and whatever. But they had a really good connection, a very good bond. And the reason that his brother, so that's that person's brother, he had a very strong knowledge in mental health due to the work that he does and some other elements that's played into it. And when he met his brother, or he spoke to him, or he found out and he about that something is wrong with him, he realized that this man he's in crisis. He needs help urgently. He made a phone call to myself. It was Monday. I was in Nightingale Hospital then, because sometimes I go there on Monday evenings, and he basically came over, and he was admitted to hospital. 5 days later, he was out, back to normal. He's off medication. I think he's doing great. Now, that story is a very typical story that could have, without that brother, stepping in and saying something, this could have been a very tragic ending. It could have taken a huge, long time until somebody would have said something, or
sometimes one doesn't always recover from things like psychosis if it's been left too long.
Correct. The brain cells. What do you say, Prof? The brain cells start them. They start dying off.
Neuroplasticity decreases. Yeah.
Right. So it's finding it quickly is paramount to the healing process, the time that it takes, and reoccurring everything on it.
Do you think that's in a way the biggest challenge for the community to try? And the more we understand, the more we have an awareness of it, the more we can sort of treat it early onset rather than letting things...
It is certainly a huge factor. I mean, this is just one story. There's other stories the other way around where, most of the stories are unfortunately the other way around, where, the ending is not very pleasant, where, disguising previous diagnoses from different psychiatrists where they, the parents don't believe in it, or all sorts of different things. And it's unfortunately that we end up having more... It's more difficult, to get it, and then when they need to go and have the treatment, it becomes like conditional, and it has to be like that, it has to be like this, and it's sometimes difficult. But look, there's a lot of legwork being done and a lot of awareness, happening compared to before. Of course, there's always place for more, and yes, we can see it. We can see a difference. We can see a difference in how things are progressing.
But it's amazing how you're saying, Professor, because I never really thought about it like that. You're saying it's really often it's coming in a way from a good place. The families are so supportive and so loving that instead of looking to like change or do something, they're just okay. This is how you are.
No, they try to encapsulate the problems. Okay, because of several reasons. Number one, lack of knowledge. They don't know what's that. Okay. Number two, okay, the fear of stigma. Number three, okay, the lack of resources, okay, where to go. They don't know where to go. So, as Yuli said, there are a lot of patients that actually was, oh my God, how can you have kept this person, okay, for years and years, okay, without asking for help, waiting for a crisis to happen. Mm-hmm. Many cases like this, and a case, okay, that had a lot of problems, not actually communicating with anybody, severe social phobia, severe OCD, hasn't been going out, came into hospital, okay, worked with him. Funny enough, the father noticed that the same things are happening with his brother. So he got his brother earlier.
Yeah, really?
So, people learn. Mm-hmm. So, definitely, it's very important for organizations and charities and people like you, Yuli, and other people in the community to tell people, okay, these are the symptoms, okay, they're easily treatable, okay, there's no stigma, okay, you don't have a stigma when you have a heart attack, you don't have stigma when you have a broken leg. Why you should have a stigma when it's about mental illness, which is the same. You don't have a stigma when you have problems with your thyroid. It's the same.
Yes.
Thyroid decrease hormone, and in the brain decrease hormone. So it's the same. So
It should be the same, but people still, people will say that, my leg's got bad leg, but people won't say I'm struggling with depression.
yeah, definitely,
And
because
there's so much, and the strain of the hiding often
Contributes to the whole
can be
problem.
worse than the actual initial problem.
Yeah.
And the anxiety about people knowing is often worse than the actual initial anxiety.
I remember. Okay, I went into Yuli's son wedding.
Yes, but that's where we met each other.
And no, the other son.
The other
okay?
son, the other son.
And one of the patients came in. He saw me. He ran out.
Yes. Trust me, I have it on a regular basis. I went to Simcha recently, as bar mitzvah someone, and he said, like, it was half joke, but it was half serious. He said, Yaakov, thank you so much for coming, but please don't stay too long. He doesn't want people to stop working out. Like, why is he here?
One of the things that we pointed out about the stigma is also, which I've forgotten that we do, is people who don't want anyone to see them, or other people to, possibly see, and maybe they will think that they're going to psychiatrist. Well, because when you come in the middle of the day, it's there's many other services in refuah. So, but I still have that fear. We tell them we stay late, and it's one of the reasons why we are very we try and do it late. So from 8:30, refuah is closed officially, and I and myself and the professor are there, and we stay there until and those people will come and make sure that whoever comes in doesn't go out, goes in this room, go in that room. And it's another thing that helps for people to feel that they're not being exposed to anyone seeing them. Yeah.
And it's such a long process that we need to get to. The stigma is. I think people are. It is better than it used to be. Like people, especially when it comes to people sending their children. Like I'll see quite a lot of teens and the parents. It's much more sort of open. I'm sending, he's got anxiety, he's got OCD. There's a bit less hiding than there used to be, but it still is very hard.
Long way to go.
Yeah,
a long way to go. And I mean, there is obviously we have got the issues where people and rightfully so, over diagnosing, and they say, well, everything's got a name and everything's got illness. Yes, I mean, at the moment now, I think within the community we've got to go to that extent, in a sense, to first of all open it all out, and then kind of break it in between as to how things needs to be done. So you'll have people will call up and just ask, what do you do? What do you do? They've got this obsessions that comes with it. And how many times have we had that people came in for their children, and they could see the change in their kids, quickly, and they ended up, I mean, tens of them. We're not talking about 2 or 3, tens of them. The parents came back afterwards. Oh, how many have we got now? I think we've got about 4 or 5 of them now.
The whole
as
family,
we speak.
family concession.
Yes.
Family concession.
Somebody, and then they, you've just you saved my. I can't believe it. I didn't even know that this is a problem. I didn't even know that this, it's unreal. I mean, put it that way. The ADHD that I've diagnosed, that I've been diagnosed, which was how many years ago now? I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago. It started off with one of my children being diagnosed with ADHD, with somebody, the mashgiach, basically telling me that he might have ADHD, and me going to a psychiatrist at the time, Dr. Alex Horn. He's retired already, and him starting medication and then reading about it, and then thinking, okay, well, hold on, I've also got that. I also got this, and then I went to Girolia originally, which is a very famous psychiatrist within the community. A lot of people go to him, and he told me you've got ADHD, and I'm not going to give you any medication until you start something for your anxiety. So eventually, I went to Dr. Poplyak, which is also someone we know. I think we've shared some at the time. And Dr. Poplyak gave me, started me medication. It was changed, it was up and down until I started taking ADHD medication. And here I am today. Well, now.
And also, you had a marvelous therapist.
Of
Yeah.
course. Of course, we haven't spoken about me, so it's okay. This isn't about me. Of course.
But also, I think one of the things about the stigma is that so many people, I know from sort of GPs within the community, so many people are anyway taking medication, SSRIs. It's almost like everybody's sort of hiding. It would be amazing if everyone actually we all came forward and said, we will suddenly see that everybody's struggling with the same mental health issues. We've all got our challenges.
Well, Dr. Horowitz, he's the GP that I use. He's prescribed me actually a few of my SSRIs went through him. I think certainly in the beginning for certain.
Mm-hmm.
Can't remember which one it was more, but he's identified a few times issues with my mental health and helped me very much. He also came to JT's.
Dr. Horowitz. He also talks on the course.
That's right.
The therapy course. That's another thing we try and do to really improve. We have loads of people in different yeshivas and different schools, all training to understand and identify early mental health problems and have the techniques, the CBT techniques, to try and prevent it before it goes to the professor's door.
Yeah.
But if we can talk.
I just wanted to say about this that Dr. Horowitz basically he told me many times back in the days that the second thing after antibiotic that gets prescribed, within the community, I guess, because he works within the community, is SSRIs.
Yes, yeah. But can we just talk about the medication, because now in recent times there's been a bit more research and data coming out that perhaps the pharmaceutical companies in the past have sort of said it's just a lack of serotonin and people just need to take the SSRIs and there's no side effects. Is it always that simple? Or do you sometimes feel that actually someone doesn't always need medication?
So there are nice guidelines to guide us through this process. And the nice guidelines is very clear. There is step care approach. So, people worried about anxiety and depression, for example, they don't need medication. They need therapy, coping strategies. Help them to decrease their anxiety. Then people moderate. They may need both a small type of medication and therapy. But people with severe depression, which is a very big illness, and actually by 2030 it will be the major cause of disability in the world. No, this needs medication. So there is I think the NICE guidelines have created appropriate guidance to help us through this process. In the past, before the NICE guidelines, for example, benzodiazepines were Smarties. We're just Smarties.
Yes,
Anyone will take benzodiazepines and that's it. Or at that time Prozac. That Prozac was everyone on Prozac.
Yeah, that was the advertising slogan.
Yeah, everyone was. It was I remember. New York Times. In the 80s, they had this title. Cow Mad Disease, Macarena, and Prozac, the title of the year. Mm-hmm. So it is now when the NICE guidelines came, actually it modulated all that. So there's no overprescribing. Medication is not only is not always the answer to a lot of things. I cannot give you medication to change the way you think. I can give you some medication to change how you feel. But I'm not able to change your thinking. Your thinking have therapy. I can give you medication to relax your body, but I cannot give you medication, okay, to make you relaxed. So
Yes, yeah.
So yeah, some people ask me, has it been ever that the professor has seen someone and is not giving him medication? And the answer is yeah. It's happened more than once and more than twice, many times that the professor said, no, well, you just need to have therapy. This is the therapy you should have. Have a nice day.
I think some people just want a quick fix.
Well, yes. So we've had that, and also people ask me, about second opinions. The professor's always ready to go and take second opinions. I can be, if you want, to just come in for a second opinion, whatever it is. Very humble and flexible about all of that. But yeah, carry on with the medication starts.
It's the patient's right to have any second opinion for and against, okay? Because at the end of the day, you need reassurance, and you need to make sure that your care is being managed appropriately. And this is a right that we respect for any patient to have. It's never pride and dignity. Thing, because it's very important that we're human at the end of the day, and people can make mistakes, people can make slips. So it's very important. It's very important people to know that. We welcome.
Maybe as a Jewish society, we tend to be a bit skeptical sometimes, maybe a bit suspicious. We feel we need another opinion. It could be part of the culture.
Yeah,
that we don't always. We don't go into things blindly so much.
Yeah, and that's absolutely fine. Everybody's entitled, so they can take their files away, and it's something that I do, in the back where they ask, send this information. We need to have a copy of reports or whatever it shouldn't be. It all has to be, documented well.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I mean, I'm just literally. I already know because we've worked together, on different cases. But as a therapist, it is, and I'm someone who sees and works with people in the community. The psychiatrist area was always the part that we almost got stuck because
Correct.
The waiting times, or even if they went to psychiatrists, a lot of them they didn't always feel that they could connect to. So what you two have done is you've filled a massive void, and I think really I feel like I'm speaking on behalf of all of us, but we have to thank you, both of you, so much for almost giving a lifeline to those that need it the most.
Yeah. So the plans of Yosef Chai, if I can share that, is that we're trying to deal with immediate crises where people, need to go into hospitals or they need to find out, what to do next. So then, we try and pass them on to different organizations to carry them forward. And then the next, so this is something we're doing already now. We've been doing with the psychiatrist, which is still evolving. There's a few more things that needs to happen, but we're almost there with everything. So the next is basically that we're going to create a system where people will be able to borrow money for psychiatric help. So whether it's for mental health, whether it's for therapy, whether it's for medication, because some medication is expensive, psychiatric visits, all sorts of different things, where they will be able to get a loan based on a facility sort of, and then they will slowly pay back for this, which fits with the fact that people will have to pay on their own, so they'll have a sort of urge to make sure that
people
they feel
bought into it more.
Exactly, and it's sustainable in terms of if people, the money that we have will keep recycling, and we'll be able to. The only thing what we're going to do is we are going to set up a way of every 6 weeks to relook at every case to see if there is any meaningful progress, because some people go to therapy and they end up just sitting there. Sometimes it's the therapist's problem or the coach's problem or whoever that person is, whether they're not qualified, or sometimes it just doesn't click.
Yes,
and sometimes it becomes a chit-chat, you call it chit-chat, Prof, yeah?
Yeah, it's not
it
focused
has-
or
exactly.
goal orientated.
Or that patient isn't ready for it has to be meaningful, it has to be understanding, it has to be a plan. People don't realize that when they go for therapy, the therapist, after a certain amount of what CBT we learned, 3-4 sessions, you're supposed to have some sort of a plan. What's going to happen now, right? So you have the connection period, but then you must be able to put together a plan. So what we want to do is not because we want to mix in or want to control anything. It's just because people have no knowledge what to expect from the therapist, medication, and all sorts of different things. Is that we will monitor it, whether they come to us or they come to anyone else. Yes, it has to be. They will have to go through either Relief, Pathwell. There's different organizations.
You're going to make sure that
we still have to
successful and monitored and
in
focused.
order for us to keep funding the laying out all these monies. It has to be meaningful. We have to see some meaningful progress or understanding what's going on. So that's what we're really looking forward to launch this in the next few weeks.
Wow, Yoeli, as always, incredible. Professor, I'm going to sort of finish this episode with you. As somebody who's come from Egypt, now working in Stamford Hill, but seeing Jewish people across the community, what is your hope from what you've started now? What is your hope that in a few years' time, what can you achieve?
Okay, I hope that through Yosef Chai we will be able to create a comprehensive mental health services that can cater for the need of the community. We have very enthusiastic plans, and even up to units and hospitals and. But we're taking it step by step. Definitely, the right way. We are forwards and upwards, and hoping that we will be able to create a comprehensive service that can actually be culturally appropriate and meet the needs of this community.
Wow. Well, what can I say? I can't wait. Thanks so much. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank
we look
you.
forward to hearing more.